Welcome to another episode of Her Wellness Business Empire podcast and YouTube. I am so excited about today's show because I am sharing the stage with Dawn. I don't know, some people say Dawn from my New Jersey side. I say Dawn, Dawn Apuan. She has been dubbed the Queen of Copywriting. And we get into the nitty gritty about how to actually become an effective copywriter as a woman in the wellness industry. And we're covering topics on the difference between content writing and copywriting, what are effective copywriting practices, creating emotional connection, the role of AI in copywriting, and so much more. One of the favorite things that she says in this, and you'll hear it a couple of times, is that people are praying for you. And that basically what that means is your people are out there and they need what you have to offer. And it's a disservice if you're not showing up and connecting with them and meeting them. And Dawn's going to help us figure out how to do that in an effective way. So I'm super excited about today's event. I'll share her cred in the show notes below and how to get in touch with her. But let's go. You're going to love it. Welcome, Dawn. I am so happy that you're here. You and I have known each other now, is it 3 years?
Yes.
That's crazy. We did a really impactful leadership training together that was over 4 months. And that's how we got to know each other. And now we're both living in the same region in the Pacific Northwest. So that's really fun. We get to, at some point, get together and hang out. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. But the first thing I want you to do is kind of just share your story, how you got to be a copywriter.
Yes, happy to share. I haven't always been a copywriter. It's kind of a...
You weren't born that way?
A lot of, yeah. Right out the womb, I was writing, a twisted road that I ended up here, but it's been incredible. My husband and I used to be pastors. We co-pastored together and we're executive directors of a nonprofit doing 80,000 services a year in our community here in Washington. And it was good. It was a lot of work and very stressful. And ultimately, I had my daughter and I was juggling both and just wanted to be home more with her. And then as the situation with work and leadership got very abusive, I decided that it was time to move on to something else and get to be the mom that I wanted to be. So I Googled work from home, got into digital marketing and affiliate marketing, and we throw shade on that area of online business, but it's really what got me started. And I discovered copywriting because I was in this community of affiliate marketing and people were like, why do your ads do so well? Why does your landing page convert better? Like, why are you making more sales? I was the only girl on the leaderboard of 20 normally. This was a very bro heavy world. Copywriting still is heavily bro, but a lot more women are joining now. So it's been exciting to watch over the last 5 years. I've definitely been in rooms where I've been the only girl. So not as much lately, which is nice. But yeah, that's how I got started, is just people started seeing that my stuff was doing really well. And then I didn't know what copywriting was. This is back in the day, I literally had just switched out from using a flip phone to a smartphone. So I went from like a flip phone to making money online. Is a big switch for the non-tech girl. I always share that my husband literally laughed out loud when I said I started an online business. And he laughed out loud and then he was like, but you don't know how to turn on the TV. Which is still true to this day. I do not know how to use our TV because I don't watch TV and I don't care. But I was not very techie. I will admit that. But everything is figure outable. And I like to say they messed with the wrong mama bear. And I was determined to stay home with my kiddo, which ultimately I did. We quit ministry and rebuilt our lives. I started my business. We both worked at another nonprofit, but I was working from home at first so that I could do both. And then ultimately I quit that And then a year later, I retired my husband. So we're both home.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
I
Yeah, that
love
would have been about a year after we met when I retired him.
that's so cool, Dawn. I love that so much. I don't think I knew that particular fact that it was so quick. So that's interesting. And I'm gonna jump back to something that you said here in a minute because of this, like you said, this bro heavy industry. I'm intrigued by that because of some recent experience. But so I will pin that and come back to it. But I'm wondering, so my audience are women in the wellness industry, mostly holistic practitioners. Now, can you share some insights on the importance of effective copywriting for women in the wellness industry? Looking really, the question I get the most is, how can I find clients? And they want to expand their reach and their impact.
Mm-hmm. Love this question. And, here's the first thing. Number one is people are praying for you. That's what I always tell every business owner. You
Mm,
have a solution that people are
mm,
looking for. They have a problem or some kind of pain that is getting to the point where it's bad enough that they're willing to invest their money. They're willing to pay, which to our primal brain is pain. They're willing to pay for your solution, for whatever it is that you can help them feel better. So that's the first thing, is know that, it's not salesy to sell. It really is, you have a beautiful gift in the wellness space. I've supported many, many clients in wellness. I don't even know that you and I have talked much about my journey since we met into holistic health and different, plant-based and paleo, and really
oh,
going into all natural for everything toxin free, from makeup to soaps to everything in my life. So it's very important to me. So I say that knowing that that's your audience. Like, we live, like, here in America and even Canada, we're so, I want to say, dependent on the Western system, maybe brainwashed. I just think that we need health and wellness practitioners who are not just
yes.
dependent upon medications to mask symptoms, but we need you to get back to the root cause of why something in our body is not working right. And, we are holistic, and all of this, like mind, body, emotion,
Yeah.
spiritual. It's not just, oh, take this med and you'll be fine. So just know that number one is that I always say you have a duty to show up
Mm,
and use your voice and speak your truth, because people need to hear it. I didn't know. I get so frustrated. I just had a conversation with my brother over the weekend where we said, you don't know what you don't know. Back in the day when I didn't know about the the harms of medication, I didn't know about the long-term effects, or that, hey, I have this one problem that's actually related. Like, I had a skin condition from when I was a kid that I was still dealing with as an adult, because they always just gave me like a steroid cream instead of being like, hey, it's because of your diet. It's a problem in your gut. They don't tell us those things. And
yeah.
I'm so frustrated. Like, I had gone to the doctor so many times for this one issue, and it took like 20 years. And then I ended up healing myself because I was done with Western medicine. I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out myself, which is why I went down the plant-based rabbit hole and, getting into that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that's just like, from a copywriter perspective and someone who loves holistic health and wellness, you have a duty to share this message and to speak your truth, which means showing up on social media, which means, being unapologetic about, not like mean or sassy, but be unapologetic about people, empowering people to know that there's a different way, empowering people with education. I have one client whose tagline is "Get educated, not medicated."
Ooh, that's good. I
Yeah.
love that. And I think you can be sassy if that's your brand.
You can't be sassy, but
I
not in
might be a
like
little bit
you
sassy
know
at
how,
times.
not in like an in your face,
Right, right,
like
right.
you're
Not
wrong. And
combative, not combative.
yeah, not combative, but
Yeah.
for sure. I have one client that's very sassy. We write with, a few F-bombs here and there, and just very sassy, but you can be sassy, just not, yeah, combative and in their face. I
Yeah.
think, ultimately everybody gets to make their own choices about their body and things like that. But the problem of what I've seen And the frustration from a consumer point of view of, I would be probably an ideal client for some of you listening, is that we just don't know. I just didn't know. I've grown up in the West with Western medicine, and I wasn't taught those things. You tend to just trust,
Yeah.
people in
Yeah.
uniforms and doctor's coats, and I don't really anymore. But that's the journey that I've been on. So I think it's just so important. Your message is so important, and getting it, I don't want to say right, but being able to communicate in a way that connects with other people, like that tagline, get educated, not medicated. That's something that I worked with my client on. There are other ones as well. What's another one? All naturally, don't settle for ordinary, different things. Your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
Different things like that, where you connect with your ideal people by talking about the issues, talking about why those things don't work. Be polarizing. That's one thing I always say, is like, don't be afraid, not to like really tick people off, but don't be afraid to repel people and have them leave your world, because you're going to be more magnetic to the ones who are really into you. Like, there's always going to be people that are just kind of like so and can take it or leave it, but that's like more vanilla, right? You want to really tap into people's emotions. Like, one of the questions that I always ask clients is like, what makes you angry,
Mm,
specifically about your niche or your
mm,
industry?
mm.
Like, what really
Great
pisses you off?
question.
hmm What myths do you hate that people believe? Like, it might be like acupuncture is painful, or acupuncture is woo woo quackery, or, like things like that,
Yep.
where you want to kind of like open the can of worms, get people a little bit agitated, get people emotional. We buy on emotions, we get engaged, in emotional things. So stir up some emotions. And that starts with you being tapped into your own emotions and knowing what makes you angry about the industry, what is so wrong
Mm,
about your industry. And the villain, which in this case might be Western medicine, might be a lack of education. It depends on what slant you want to take. But every story has a villain, every story has conflict. So talk about it and get
mm.
people. It's kind of like the proverbial, how kids like their backseat, they're like poking each other, like, Mom, he touched me.
Touch me first.
Like, think of it like that. Like, you just want to kind of like poke around and get people awake, get people to start
Mm,
thinking differently, because we don't have to accept status quo, and we really can live natural, healthy lives that are vibrant and where you feel good and you don't need, 10 medications to get through the day, that sort of thing. So yeah.
I, oh gosh, that's such a great response. Thank you so much. I love this idea of, first of all, it's your duty to show up because you have something that can help somebody, and why would you not share that with them? And what gets you angry? What a great question. That's going to be something I contemplate. I already had some things that came up for me personally. And then really don't be afraid to be polarizing. And it's not for this, to me, like when I hear that from you, it's not for the sake of being polarizing, but for taking a stand, right? Taking a stand, claiming your truth, and being, like you said, unapologetic about it. So I think that's so powerful. And I think that's really impactful. And I imagine my audience is really feeling that. And the other thing I was thinking of, like, you went through this whole journey over the last few years of your own discovery in natural medicine. There had to be some level of good copywriting out there for you to be attracted to that. So like you had to find your way, and it was through people's copy and messages that allowed you to move forward with whomever or whatever product or whomever it was that you decided to work with, right? Like there had
Mhm.
to be certain messaging around that.
Yep.
So that's amazing. So what are some of the common challenges for, I'm going to just keep it with my audience, female wellness entrepreneurs face when it comes to crafting compelling content? And how can, being a good copywriter help overcome those challenges, or hiring the right copywriter? How can copywriting overcome these challenges?
Yeah, great question. So first, I would say number one is know you're worth it.
Hmm.
That's where it starts. Your belief in yourself, which not only is a challenge for many women, but especially women in the wellness space. It's just known for being cheap or inexpensive, a cheap yoga class, or, it's almost like another version of the starving artist. Being in the wellness industry has this stereotype of being kind of broke. And yeah, so I think that's the first thing I would say is be confident in who you are and the value that you bring to the world. One of my favorite phrases is my gifts are of high service to the world and I am massively compensated for them. So
Good
that's where I would
mantra.
start.
Great mantra.
Yes, I love it.
That's so
I
good.
love it. So it
Yeah.
starts with the mindset and your confidence and knowing your worth. And then from there, with your messaging, it number one, you want to bring in your story. Most of, at least from what I've experienced, most wellness practitioners are in it because they've overcome their own journey of
Mhm.
wellness. So
Definitely.
it's sort of that your mess becomes your message. So tell your story, figure out how to craft your story in a way that's compelling, that relates to people. I have that client I mentioned before who's a naturopathic doctor now. He owned pharmacies for 40 years. He saw that people never got better on meds. He kept selling the meds to them and it just broke his heart. He's like, I don't want to sell them anymore. Like, I want them to actually get better.
Hmm.
So he became a naturopath and now he helps people get better naturally. And
Wow.
specifically with people aging, the aging population with osteoporosis, which is the number one killer of women. Falls, fractures and falls. So,
Wow.
that's his story. I have another client who, another naturopathic doctor, helps women in menopause because her menopausal journey was insane. Even though she was a naturopathic doctor, she was like, what the hell? like, like,
Yeah.
what is happening to my body?
Yeah.
And so her story, it's part of the message that she has now is because she gets it,
Yeah.
right? You understand your ideal client on a level that, a lot of times other people can't if they haven't experienced it. So that's the next
100%.
step is being able to tell your story and then relate it to people and then being able to use their words as well. And
Hmm.
it can be a little bit of a hang up for us if we were our ideal client, say 3 years ago, because we think, oh, yeah, I know what it was like. I remember blah, 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 blah. But when you're 2 or 3 years removed from something, you've already changed so much. You still
Hmm.
need to do market research. You still need to talk to your ideal people and ask them questions. The best copy literally is just word for word verbatim what your clients are saying.
Totally.
So I always tell people keep a copy bank. I do this for my clients. They'll pop in Voxer and be like, hey, a client today said blah, blah, blah. And I'll put it in their copy bank
Oh,
because
that's so great. A copy bank. I love that idea.
yeah, yeah. And it can be anything. It could be your notes app on your phone. It can be a Google Doc, Evernote, like whatever you use to just jot things down so that when you sit down to write an email or a landing page or a sales page, you just open that bad boy up and you're like, oh, okay, that's a good phrase. You use it for headlines and all those things. So the copy bank is super powerful. It's like, yes, there's an art and a science to copy,
Sure.
but really it's simply just saying back to people what they've already said. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you're in my head. Yes, because you already said it. I just said it back to you.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. A copy bank. I'm going to start doing that for sure. Okay. I think this next question is I can't wait to hear your response because I think sometimes I think about it, there might be confusion. So could you explain like the key distinctions between copywriting for social media, email campaigns, website content, and share some like best practices for tailoring copy to each one of these platforms?
Yes. Ooh, like this question. So I'm very passionate that there's a huge difference between content writing and copywriting. I literally was
Mm.
just on a sales call where I was like, I do not write content and I never have, and I never will for payment as a copywriter. I don't do blogs or things like that that are more content based.
Yeah.
Not that those things don't have a place. I just don't like them. And so I don't do them.
Yeah.
But because I'm the kind of person, I want to see quick results. I want to see sales. I want to see conversions on a landing page. So copywriting is, we often call it conversion copywriting, meaning you're
Mm.
getting a conversion, which is a percentage of people that land on the page that are saying yes to either a free offer or a paid offer. That's what conversion copywriting is. You don't have that same kind of conversion for a blog, say,
Right.
or even a newsletter, unless you have a call to action at the end versus just like a value newsletter you put out to your list. So those are the two biggest difference between content and copy. Copy is looking for an action and for a
Mm.
certain percentage to take action at the end. So it's persuasive copy. Content is more like value writing.
Yeah.
So massive difference in my mind. There's actually, we kind of joke about in the copywriting world, we're like, blog writers aren't real copywriters. We have a little fun with
Sorry for
that.
bloggers out there.
Yes, within my industry. So yeah, that's the big difference. Here's my favorite definition of copywriting. It's the art of getting other people to do what you want them to do, but for their reasons.
That's so good.
It's amazing. And let me
That's
tell you, this will help you in every area of your life. I will tell you why. So, when my daughter was about 3 and 4 years old, about when you and I met,
uh-huh.
she was not a fan of getting her hair brushed every day. But Mama here was like, I had a little girl because I wanted to brush her hair and style it and like make her all cute and everything, right? So, what I realized though is that I didn't want there to be, a fight over having to, wrangle her to brush her hair. And so every day I would say something like, hey, today, do you want a Cinderella bun or do you want an Elsa braid?
Ah.
Anna braids today or a mermaid braid. And probably about 99% of the time, she would choose the princess and then we do the hairstyle of the princess. I got what I wanted. She didn't look like she, lived in a barn. And she got what she wanted because she wanted to look and feel like a princess. Again,
Oh,
I got her to do what I wanted, but for her reasons.
for her reasons. That's such a
For
great
her reasons.
story
So
to
you can use
explain
that
that.
with your kids, you can use it with your spouse, you can use it in your business. So think about, as a business owner, okay, what do my ideal clients want? And what are their reasons for wanting it? What's their version of look and feel like a princess?
Mm, I love that.
Because so often, I think the biggest mistake I see is that people, business owners, are so focused in their copy on the things. You get 15 training videos and 6 weeks of calls and blah, 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 all these features that nobody cares about.
Nope.
And instead, you want to focus on results. People buy results. Number one, they buy results. So tell them the result. Are they going to lose 10 pounds in 21 days? Or, what is it going to be? What's that result? And again, that example, I'm specific with timeline and result. So either a monetary value, a weight value, any kind of specific result you can give within a certain timeline, 90
Yes.
days, 6 months, whatever it is.
Because they can picture it, right? Because then they can envision
Yep.
it. And they're like, yes, I want
It's
that.
tangible. It's like, oh, I could do a 6 week program. Oh, I could do 90 days and
Yeah.
I want X result. But we get so bogged down by like all the features rather than focusing on the results and the benefits. So
Yeah.
it's like you'll lose 21 pounds in 4 weeks. So that, what's the so that? Get into your mind of your ideal client. And I think of it sort of like the Shrek, like peeling back the onion layers or cake, as he talks about. But it's why? Why do they want to lose the weight? Do they want to get in their skinny jeans again? Do they want to find their soulmate? Do they, are they embarrassed now because they've gained 15 pounds, the COVID 15?
Mhm.
Or, are they feeling like they're not as loved or desired by their spouse anymore? And that's why they want to lose the weight. Like
Mm.
there's always layers under. It's not about the weight. It's not about making money. Like none of that, those are not real reasons. They're there, but that's the very top layer.
That's
That's
the surface. Yeah.
the outer transformation that they want. And every hero's journey has an outer transformation and an inner transformation.
Oh, I love this distinction. This is good. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love
And
that.
it's super important that you speak to both. So yes,
Yeah.
give them that like surface level result that they get, X number of pounds and X number of weeks. That's great. But you also have to speak to feeling sexy again, being
Hmm.
confident in your body, whipping out those skinny jeans again, like the
Yeah.
pre-baby skinny jeans, right? Like those are the things that people are going to connect with on an emotional level that
Yeah.
they want. And people buy on emotions
Yeah.
and then they back it up with logic once they've purchased. So that's why you have to tell stories, because
Yeah.
stories are emotional. So when you tell stories, people feel emotions and then people buy on emotions.
Yeah. And it's not manipulative, because when you're in that emotion and in that pain, I just, this question reminded me of that concept of sell them what they want, give them what they need, right?
Yep.
So that's, but it's not manipulative. It's just that you have to speak to their pain, and then
Mhm.
you get to support them. They're still going to get the result. It just might look different than they think,
Yep. Yeah.
right?
And there's a great analogy that kind of shows that in a little bit of a different way that I like to share, which is, say you are needing to get to the airport to catch a flight to go see your daughter, or well, now she's drivable, but you need to catch a plane to go wherever you're going. And you could have your spouse drive you. You could set up a shuttle express. You could order an Uber and a Lyft. They might come in a Jetta. They might come in a Prius to pick you up. Does it matter? Does it matter what vehicle gets you to the airport?
Yeah, no,
No, it doesn't, right?
as long as you
What
get there.
matters? That you get there and you get there before your flight leaves,
Yeah,
right?
on time, on time. Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
your flight, getting on your flight is your result. That's the
yes,
result you want. So if the result is losing 20 pounds, they don't care how they get there. They just want to know, do you have the solution that solves my problem? I don't care if it's paleo or macros or, whatever, interim, blah, 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 features, benefits. They just
right,
want to
right.
know, can you solve my problem?
Yeah,
And that's what you need to focus on.
yeah,
That's the biggest mistake I see in copy, is just getting all, because we get so, as business owners, we get so excited about all the things we're including in our offer and how it's so amazing and we're so
yeah,
excited, right? But then we tend to forget, just simplify it. Let go of all of that, answer the questions if they have them, but focus on the result they really want, and that is what they will buy.
yeah. I love that. Okay, I have, well, what could be my final question? And it's a question I probably would not have asked you a year ago. But how do you see the role of AI evolving in the world of copywriting, especially with women in the wellness industry? And are there specific AI tools or applications that you find particularly useful for creating impactful content? And I will tell you, I'll just slip this in because I was reading an email today, and it was for this big event that actually happening, I think, in Victoria. And I was just like, oh, this sounds just like Chat GPT. Like, I was just like, this is so Chat GPT driven. And it made me realize, oh, soon this is going to be a big problem if you don't integrate your own personality. So I would love to hear your thoughts about this.
Love it. Yes. So I think there is certainly a place for Chat GPT,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to like blogs and stuff that I refuse to write. But no, AI has a place. It's here to stay. I
Yeah.
can't deny it. I was in denial at first. I'm like, it's going to be another fad that's going to go away. Like, we're fine. Because everybody, when it came blazing onto the scenes last November, everybody's reaching out to me and they're like, oh my God, are you going to be out of a job? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to have a business in a month? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. And I did not realize how much it really was here to stay until my turning point was actually, I was making a point for a masterclass I was doing for copywriters. And so I went on to some job boards because I just wanted to say, like how many. I was showing them that it's not very helpful to apply for job boards as a copywriter because there's always like hundreds of applicants within hours. And I was like teaching people a better way to get clients as
Mm,
copywriters.
that's
I'm
cool.
looking on this job board and I'm like, there was a copywriter position for $65,000 a year. And then right under that, there was a prompt engineer position, starting salary $250,000. Yeah. And I was like, holy heck.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was like, $250,000 if you know what to say to Chat GPT. Like, that is wild. And so that was the turning point for me, where I kind of woke up and was like, okay, I should maybe figure out how to use this tool. Before then, I was like, I'm not going to use it. Like, I'm a real copywriter. I write
Yeah.
copy myself, which I still write my own copy. It's a great tool, but nothing more than that. It cannot replace humans. It ultimately, I think it's just going to get worse in a sense. Like, it will get better, but you're going to start seeing a lot more of it.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be emulating itself, right? Because it's going to be pulling from all these AI generated, right?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
So it ultimately, I think it's going to
Mm,
degenerate in a sense,
interesting.
in that sense. But it's a great place to start. Like, I love using it to get like the first stab at a sales page or the first stab at an email, like, hey, Chat GPT, do this. And there is something to be said for how you engineer the prompt. Like, I took a course on prompt engineering so that I was better at engineering those prompts and what
Yeah.
I put into it. But even with those, which are very high level, like, I purchased it from, a very, very good copywriter who had done, I think he put his head down and just did like 16 hours a day, literally on Chat GPT for like a month. And he just learned all this stuff, and then he created a course and put it out. So high quality stuff, and you still get stuff out of it that's like, yeah, Chat wrote that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not a perfect system. You still need the heart and the soul of a human being. Those are the two that I mentioned the most, especially with women, and especially in the wellness space, because we're caregivers, we're nurturers, we're
Hmm.
compassion, we have love. Like, we don't want to be salesy and robotic. We want to, we already struggle enough with sales. We want to just like, oh, or you're nurturers. If you're in the healthcare space, you're a nurturer.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
chat can't embody that.
Yeah.
You have a great leg up on men for sure. As a woman, you understand emotions at a higher
Yeah.
level. You understand
That's true.
compassion and nurturing at a different level. And so you already have that going for you. Use ChatGPT as a tool to get some things started. You could even say, like, chat, tell me 10 headlines, that say this result, and put in the result, and then just have it come up with 10 headlines. Even if you don't end up using one of them, it might spark an idea of something you do use. When I
That's
do the
what seems
sales
to happen for me.
pages, hmm,
That's what seems to happen for me. It seems to just like spark ideas.
yeah. And then you just springboard from there. So
Yeah.
I put stuff in, like, for the sales pages, I'll say, write a 10-point sales page, include this, don't include this, put it in this tone. Here's the ideal client. And then it'll write it out. And I use a fraction of
Yeah.
what pops out, but enough is different from what I would normally think of, or at least gets me going from a blank page. A lot
Yeah.
of times, the blank page, blank screen is a barrier for people. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start.
Good point.
So if nothing else, use Chat GPT just to start. And then you can always, copy and paste it into your document, and then just delete most of it, add the little bits that help. One great thing that Chat GPT does is tell stories. So if you need an example to make a certain point, or if you want an example from a popular TV show or movie or something, you can say, like, Chat GPT, tell me a story of XY individual who, does this and does this, and, or an example from Friends. Like, if
Hmm.
you have, like, if your client base loves Friends and that's what they're going to connect with, or
Yeah.
Golden Girls, or, whatever the case may be, that is a great way to use Chat GPT, because you may not remember all those stories. You can always, again, you're going to tweak it. Don't use it verbatim, but it is great for idea generation for sure. And it's
Yeah.
fast. It's just so much faster than humans. Like, we can't compete with that. I can't write a full sales page in like 1.2 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
my end result is a whole lot better than what Chat GPT comes up with in that amount of time, but at least it gives you a place to start and
Yeah.
kind of a direction to take, and then you got to add your heart and your soul to it, that human component for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great way to kind of wrap this up. Is there anything else that you feel like is important that maybe we didn't talk about that you want to share? And then secondly, how can people learn more about you? Where do they find you?
Find me. Ooh, I feel like we covered just a lot of great stuff
A lot of
today.
good nuggets for sure. I took some good notes.
Yes, I would just say don't forget you're the answer to people's prayer, which
Yeah.
makes it your duty to share
Oh, good full
what
circle
you
moment
do.
there. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, don't forget
Yeah, I
you to
think
walk away
that's
with.
a key to helping people remember to just do it. Just don't, there's no perfect timing. Just get out
Yeah.
there. Just
And don't
start.
take yourself so seriously, right? Like we stress about like, oh my gosh, is this the right time of day to post a reel? Or what's the algorithm going to do? Or what is so-and-so going to think? And it's like, oh my gosh, lighten up, people. The more fun you have, the more money you make. So go have some
Yes.
fun.
So much pressure you're putting on yourself.
We put a tremendous amount of pressure. And I say we because I'm guilty of it at times
Yeah.
as well. So
So how are you helping people right now, and how can people find out more about you, and what do people need to know?
yes, I would love, if you're listening to this, to come and find me on Instagram at dawn.copyqueen. That is where I play the most and have fun and love connecting with people. So pop into my DMs and say hey, and maybe the nugget that you loved the most from our
Yeah, I love it.
conversation here. I'd love to hear from you. I just love connecting with other business owners. It's been an amazing part of entrepreneurship that I wasn't expecting. It's like a
Mm.
surprise and delight of this journey of really finding a community online with other business owners. So come say hi there. And yeah, there are two main ways that I help people now. I still write done for you copy for clients, mainly female entrepreneurs like yourself. And then I also coach copywriters now to build a profitable business. So
Oh, that's so great. I love it. That's
my
awesome.
two loves, coaching and copywriting. So
How
yeah, come say hi
beautiful.
on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll pop the link below. And thank you so much for taking the time today. I love this conversation. I think it was super fun. I'm not a copywriter, but I love copywriting because I love the concepts and like the thought process behind it. And it's like marketing on paper, right? So I love it. Thank you so much, Dawn.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.